I think the people who are most vulnerable to be wiped out in the coming nuclear war are those resident in North America and Europe. They're likely to be wiped out. And that's because I believe the Zionists have already exploited modern Western civilization to get all that they needed to get from them. They've used them as guinea pigs to fight their wars for them. And now that Israel is poised to take over from the United States as the next ruling state in the world, it is becoming increasingly inconvenient for Israel to have this baggage on its shoulders, modern Western civilization. The modern Western man has a kind of a mysterious energy in him, intellectual energy. If you look at every single branch of knowledge, modern Western man has extended the frontiers of knowledge. If you look at military power, modern Western man has the greatest military power in the world today. So there's some kind of a mysterious energy in modern Western man. And if modern Western man opens his eyes and begins to see the reality that he has been exploited and taken for a ride by the Zionists, he's being used now as a guinea pig. As Western man opens his eyes and begins to understand the reality, he is already emerging as a formidable threat, more formidable than Muslims. And so I believe the master plan is to get rid of modern Western man before his eyes open big enough to be able to understand and to constitute the gravest of all threats to Israel. The nicest way, the easiest way, the most effective way is to try to foment a clash between the two superpowers. So you have thousands of nuclear weapons being used, one against the other. And that'll be the end of modern Western civilization. What can we do? In Islam we have the belief that life and death are in the hands of the one God. If He has ordained death, then nothing that we can do can prevent death. And if He has not ordained death, then no one can take our lives. It's called faith. And once you have that faith, you can continue your work. Regardless of what's happening in the world, you continue the struggle until the time comes for you to lay down your burden and go into the earth. But it is permissible for you to make a hijrah or migration, to try to move from a place where there is greater danger to a place where there is greater security. And the most vulnerable place in the world to be today and for the next 20 years or so would be in the mega cities. The mega cities. So if you want to survive, your chances are much better if you get out of London and New York and Paris and Chicago and New Delhi and Karachi and Jakarta and go to the countryside. The more remote the countryside, the better. And produce your own food, because food is increasingly becoming contaminated, becoming more garbage than food. And produce your own food and become self-sufficient in food and in water. And this is your best way of surviving.